everyone, my name is Gabby, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super review. This time reviewing episode 115. Kefla's overwhelming power forces Goku to realize he can't hold back anymore, and goes to Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken. But he's still not at full stamina, and with Super Saiyan, Kefla manages to defeat him. But just as she's about to eliminate him, Goku suddenly dodges all of her attacks, and as he opens his eyes, there's Silver once again. Ultra Instinct is back. So, what did I like about this episode? Well, first of all, I did honestly enjoy the kind of sort of reasonings that they tried to give as to why all the other universes hadn't really tried Potara fusion or really kind of attempted Potara fusion. I mean, with like Universe 3 and 4, the idea is they seem to already have some kind of secret plans that don't really need fusion. With Universe 2, it doesn't really work. But with Universe 7, the kind of thing that Whis was sort of explaining is that fusion is sort of a high risk, high reward. In that it's sort of like, you know, if the fusion works and it works really well and they get really strong like they have with Kefla, it's like, oh, you know, that's really worth it. It's definitely worth it. But if the fusion basically just isn't strong enough and they get eliminated, it basically means you've wasted 2 competitors. And that's actually a really big deal, especially now with this part of the tournament where we don't really have as many competitors left. Because basically, for Beerus at least, the stakes of losing this tournament are too high for him to really kind of gamble on anything. He wants to basically try and prefer to play it safe, and that's why we're not having any fusion. Basically, that's why we're not getting Vegeta or whatever. I also really enjoyed the way they handled Ultra Instinct's return. I mean, I don't think the animation was really that good, but I feel like they handled it creatively enough to kind of compensate for those shortcomings. It's like Goku kind of starts off with his eye sort of hidden in shadow, and then as Kefla's about to launch her attack, Goku's hair suddenly lifts a little bit, and he starts just effortlessly dodging all of those attacks, and as everyone's just kind of being there sort of looking around and being like, wait, what's going on? It's like only then does the aura suddenly show up, and only then does he just slowly open his eyes, then you realize it's Silver, and you're like, oh shit, it's back. That's cool. That's really, really cool. It's like, you know, they played it for drama and intrigue and surprise. It's like the audience probably knew that it was Ultra Instinct, but they took them a while to get to it. And so then eventually when you see it, you're like, oh, yeah, I was right. This is gonna happen. This is gonna be really, really cool. Those kind of slow reveal transformation sequences are always the coolest. And it also helps that Ultra Instinct as a form is just very kind of unique looking in general, even if it's basically unique looking because it doesn't really look that different. Also, because this is me, I have to mention this. In this episode, Gohan used the Masenko. I think this is the first time he has used the Masenko in this franchise since I think maybe the first Broly movie, if I'm remembering right. Pretty much from the moment he starts fighting Cell, he basically uses the Kamehameha exclusively. So hey, that was a bit of fan service that I'm just like, oh, that was really cool. Especially because like the Masenko was actually honestly more like specifically Gohan's move, because even if it came from Piccolo, I don't think we ever actually saw Piccolo use it or actually like, you know, call it out. So it's like, oh, that's fun. Gohan's using his attack again. I like it. As for what I didn't like about this episode, well, as well as bringing back Ultra Instinct this episode, they also brought back Ultimate Battle, like the insert song, the one they were using in episode 110, although it didn't have the vocals this time. They took out the vocals, but other than that, it was pretty much the same song. And I'm just like, oh, really? Because, like, the thing that I really like about insert songs, what I find really awesome about them, is the fact that often they don't come back. They're basically only there for, like, a specific moment in time, but in this episode, they brought it back again. When a piece of music like this shows up only once, it basically feels like it's being made specifically for that scene and that moment, but here it's coming back, and it's just like, it's basically like a new form in general. It's like, every time it comes back and you see it again, it just becomes progressively less and less special, to the point that even the original moment doesn't really feel like it means as much anymore. It doesn't help that when it was used in 110, it was honestly a really cool moment with like really great animation, and it felt like the events in the episode were being timed to the music really well. And in this episode, they were trying to do it, but they just weren't doing it as well. It just wasn't as cool. And that just feels like a cheap imitation trying to capture the magic of the special at best, and at worst, something that retroactively makes the special, that really cool moment, feel kinda cheap. I know people are going to say that this isn't necessarily new. There have actually been moments, even the original Dragon Ball series, where they've used insert songs more than once, but I'm just like, oh, I just hope they have some restraint. Like, you had that cool moment. Just stop trying to sort of recapture it again in a slightly different context. Just leave that moment alone and maybe try to go beyond it and stop trying to reference it. I feel like I'd prefer that. So, as for next episode, Ultra Instinct Goku is going to continue the fight against Kefla, and I'm honestly kind of curious as to basically what the purpose of this is. I mean, if Goku's going to reawaken Ultra Instinct, wouldn't that mean that Jiren would want to fight as well? Will Kefla be defeated, and if she is, does that mean it'll be the end of Universe 6? But honestly, the thing I'm most curious about and I'm most kind of concerned about is basically the fact that, yes, Ultra Instinct is back and we're going to see it in action. The last time we saw Ultra Instinct, they put all their best animators and their best foot forward in trying to make it look as cool as possible. And I'm actually not sure if any later episodes that feature Ultra Instinct will be able to kind of top that. It certainly doesn't seem like a very easy thing to be able to kind of sell and animate and make look cool. I hope it's not going to be like that episode after Goku goes Super Saiyan where it's like there's that kind of sudden drop in animation quality and then Super Saiyan goes from looking really cool to looking kind of goofy. The preview looks hopeful, but right now I think I'm just taking as much advantage as I can for the fact that basically all we've seen of Ultra Instinct is in moments where it's been really well animated and it looks really cool. So basically there's a lot of things I'm really hoping for next episode and I hope that it lives up to it. So that was Dragon Ball Super episode 115. I mean, it was fine. The actual fight between Goku and Kefla wasn't really that interesting. It was alright. There wasn't really that much fighting to it, and there was honestly a lot of kind of cutting away to spectators telling us stuff that wasn't particularly important or very useful at all, or really added much to the story. The fight was alright, but I do think that the last few minutes did kind of try to salvage it a little bit. Just judging from the stuff that's been happening next episode and the way that this episode ends, I feel like this is one of those fight episodes where they kind of had to sacrifice a bit of the spectacle because they wanted to make the next episode, or at least like the whole return of Ultra Instinct stuff, like that a big deal, so they kind of made this episode a little bit less of a big deal. Maybe there were like internal scheduling issues or whatever, I've got no idea, but as a result it did kind of make this episode go from something that would have been really, really great to something that was just kind of okay. So yeah, I am very interested to see what next week is going to be like. I hope Ultra Instinct remains really, really cool for as long as possible. Because I mean, Toei managed to get a really big hype moment and get everyone excited for this kind of idea, so I hope they don't screw it up. So this is Gabby, signing out, and I'll see you all next week. Bye guys!